contraception prevents the creation. Oh, thank you, my brother.
It might help a little bit better.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Prevents the creation of a new individual. Every human being on planet Earth that is not dead is alive. Hello. Including those who believe in abortion. God said, be fruitful and multiply. So already right there we have a problem. Or do we obey God? Or do we obey man? Do we humble ourselves and bring our bodies under self-control and self-restraint and do it God's way? Or do we give over to the lust of our flesh for self-satisfaction? See, we have to respin and reframe the argument. And even then, people who walk after the lust of their own flesh still going to do what they want to do because we're born in sin. They know this stuff is wrong in their hearts because God puts it in everybody's heart. You don't need a rocket science degree to know something's wrong with that. But people do what they want to do. Birth control is the only, abortion is the only true birth control. Because once conception has taken place, all you have to do is wait 9 months and you're not going to get a monkey, you're going to get a human being. So if you want to then stop that process, in other words, you want to control that potential birth, you have to abort. Two issues are not different. The link between birth control and abortion. Is the church really pro-life? I had to repent after Michelle gave me this topic. Pro-lifers and birth control. Many pro-life activists will certainly be offended by the classification of artificial contraception as being quote-unquote anti-life, because these people have completely separated contraception from abortion. Where? In our minds. I was guilty of that up until 2 weeks ago, whenever I talked with Michelle. As far as they're concerned, abortion and artificial contraception are two entirely separate issues. We won't belabor the point. We've already showed that's not true. But many people are deceived by that. This rascal here, Sigmund Freud, and you know he wasn't saved. No, he wasn't a Christian. Look what he said. Curiously, non-Christians tended to speak out most eloquently against artificial contraception before the 60s or the sexual revolution rendered it a dead issue. Freud said the abandonment of the reproductive function, in other words, the real purpose, the first primary purpose for sexual intercourse, is the common feature of all perversions. Ouch! We actually describe a sexual activity as perverse if it, what's it, a sexual activity, has given up the aim of reproduction and pursues the attainment of pleasure as an aim independent of it, of reproduction. See, those people who don't know God know how to spin words. So they'll use terms like reproductive rights. What? You believe in reproductive rights? Oh, yes, Reverend. Well, reproductive rights to me means the right to reproduce. I'm just a simple-minded preacher, y'all. No, but they twist it. They pervert it. That's what perverse means. Something that's not straight. Something that's crooked. He says, Freud said, now this is no preacher. This is not the Pope. This is not the apostle or the prophet. This is a rascal. And he had enough sense to say that the abandonment of the primary reason for sexual intercourse is to reproduce and to replenish the earth. He says when we abandon that for sheer pleasure, in other words, the lust of the eyes and the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life that says, this is my body, I'm going to do with it what I want to do. And we have to tell him, no, baby, when did you create yourself? What do you mean, your body? God created you. You are not your own. You've been bought with a price. You didn't create yourself. What do you mean, your body? Your body has been given to you for you to be a good steward of your Creator. You got it twisted. He says that when we give up the natural function, which is reproduction of the human race, and we give over to lust, that's perverse. When my brother gave his presentation about sodomy, most people don't even make that connection. Freud made it way back yonder, before the 60s. So now we have euthanasia, we have infanticide, we have abortion, we have sodomy, we have bestiality, we have incest, we have all kind of madness. And where did it all start? Contraception, which led to birth control, which is abortion, which led to, why stop there? Let's push the envelope a little further. How about sodomy? How about incest? How about rape? Huh? How about bestiality? Huh? Let's not just stop there with heterosexuality. Let's keep moving the envelope a little further. That's how the enemy operates. Gandhi said, he's a Hindu, was a Hindu. Look what he said. Quote, artificial methods of contraception are like putting a premium on vice. He's saying the same thing Freud said. They make men and women reckless. Nature is relentless and will have full revenge for any such violation of her laws. Moral results can only be produced by moral restraints. Uh-oh. People don't want to hear that. Moral restraints. That's the last thing people want to hear. All other restraints defeat the very purpose for which they are intended. If artificial birth control methods become the order of the day, which they have, nothing but moral degradation can be the result. Gandhi was a Hindu, and he saw that, and he prophesied that when we refuse to do what the Apostle Paul said, and it says, I must die daily in my flesh. I must take up my cross and follow Jesus. I cannot just do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. I must practice self-restraint and self-control, which is one of the fruits of the Holy Spirit according to the book of Galatians. People don't want to hear that stuff. They don't want to hear that. Moral degradation is the result. The graphic. Does the birth control pill cause abortions? Indistinguishable natures. Contraception cannot be separated from abortion. In fact, anyone who debates on the topic of abortion will inevitably be drawn to the topic of artificial contraception over and over again, especially in the post-Roe versus Wade era of pro-life activism. Therefore, every pro-life activist should understand the many relationships between abortion and artificial contraception. And then a graphic that I found, contraception, birth control. But look at the next one. Abortion, birth control, alternate, delete. And one might say, well, alternate, delete? What's that got to do? What's the laptop, what's the computer have to do with this? Oh, I'm going to use the pill, or some kind of physical contraceptive to keep from getting pregnant. But if that don't work, I'll just, through abortion, a backup, delete, bap, my mistake. Gone, bop. The anti-life philosophy. Look at that little pretty boy up there. God says, that's a gift from God. The devil says, no, it's not. It's unwanted. It's a burden. Kill it. The anti-life philosophy. Those individuals who use artificial contraception take the critical step of separating sex from procreation. We all know that's true. Contraception, not abortion, was the first step down that slippery slope. When contraception doesn't work, people think of the resulting child as a failure, not an intrinsically precious gift from God. One of the most convincing arguments for abortion is that it is necessary as a backup to contraception when contraception fails. I told a few people, my baby daughter, who's 30 years old, I was so blessed to hear that testimony of that lady that gave about the girl with the miracles. But my baby daughter, Rev Craft, she made a mistake in 2004, got caught up in fornication, got pregnant. But my wife and I, we raised all our kids in the gospel with a biblical worldview. They went and some of them did their own thing, some of them are still doing their own thing. But the fact remains, we planted good seed in their hearts with a biblical worldview from day one. When Micah got pregnant, she knew she had to make one or two choices. She was going to have that child or she wasn't going to have that child. Micah said, I'm going to have the child. She didn't know how it was going to turn out. Micah went to Rutgers University, New Brunswick, undergrad, graduated in 2008 with a degree in sociology. She wanted to be an attorney. She's like her daddy. I'm not an attorney, I'm a preacher, but she takes after her father. She can... She's feisty. She wanted to be an attorney. She said, well, pregnant, I guess that's not going to happen now. I didn't say, see, I told you. You should not have messed with that boy. I told you he was no good. No, I didn't tell her that. I said, baby girl, you made a bad choice at the beginning, but then you made a right choice by going through with the pregnancy and carrying baby to term. I said, Mommy and Daddy's going to support you. You're still going to be an attorney if that's what God has put in your heart. The only difference now, you're going to be an attorney with a child. That was empowering. We supported her as much as we could financially, and our incomes are very limited as senior citizens. But Micah, after she got that undergrad, she got accepted at Penn State Dickinson School of Law in Pennsylvania and graduated the class of 2012 with a JD, with a law degree. And she's now been a lawyer almost 3 years, 2.5 years. Makes more money than her mom and daddy put together. Marcus is now 10 years old. We love him to life. I never use the expression, I love you to death. No! I love you to life. And many times she'll say, she looks at Marky, we call him Marky. We used to call him Pooh Bear, but he's got halfway grown now. Don't call me, Grandpa, don't call me Pooh Bear. I said, shut up, boy, you Pooh Bear to me. The slippery slope begins with contraception. In those cases where there is such a clearly felt moral obligation to limit or avoid parenthood and where there is a morally sound reason for avoiding complete abstinence, the conference agrees that other contraceptive methods may be used, provided that this is done in the light of the same Christian principles. The conference records its strong condemnation of the use of any methods of conception control for motives of selfishness, luxury, or mere convenience. That was the Anglican Bishops' Resolution number 15, way back in the 30s. They had it right. This was before the sexual revolution, obviously. But they had it right, natural family planning. And for some reason, okay, we have 4 children, we can't afford another child. But, however, we're not going to buy into this abortion nonsense. We're not going to buy into this nonsense of just having sex for luxury and pleasure, this, that, and the other. So, before the 60s, when everything got turned upside down, people saw this. We've lost that. Now it's time to get it back. And God has you all in this room to be his witnesses and his spokespeople to that effect. And that's why that sister's testimony of that girl is so powerful. I told her, I said, let me stay in touch with you. I self-published the book I wrote, Morality Free. I says, that child needs to write that story. This is the last slide. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You see